Here we go. Do you remember when we were children?
Hello and welcome to the Take Life Back 100% podcast. 100% real, unfiltered and honest. Sit back and enjoy the show.
I found my first love. She picked my heart up. Took from a boy into a man.
But look, without further ado, we're gonna kind of delve into you a little bit, Mr. Ember Fadley, the Pink Panther, 100% mindset. So let's give people a little insight into who you are as a person. So, if you don't mind, could you tell us a little bit about how things were for you, what you remember growing up, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, look, I have a large family, so I do. Like, I have 7 brothers. I wasn't raised with all of them. That's maybe something we got onto a bit later on, because some of that I didn't know till my adult.
Fair enough.
So I had my oldest brother, right, who's passed away now. He passed away in 2009. He was raised by my gran on the far side, and that was very common back then, because you couldn't. He had 3 brothers who don't the same father as me. They're half
Right, I get you, yeah.
They're still brothers, so 2 of them we'll move on to later on, because they don't come into the story till later. But the oldest one, Stephen, he was raised by my gran, very common, as I said, because back then with the church and that in the 70s and all that, and the 80s, you couldn't have a child at wedlock.
I get you. So that was the reason why.
It was frowned upon, so he was raised by my nanny. But we were always told from childhood, like, this is your brother. Because, you know, with some uncles who'd live with me, and my aunties who lived with me nan's house, and we always told, yeah, it's your auntie, it's or your uncle, or whatever, right? But we always told, this is your brother, Stephen. You with me? We were always told.
And was he younger or older?
Older. He was the oldest one out of a lot. Right. And the reason I mention it that way, that we were always told our brother, because people might want to know, is I know another lad who used to hang around with him when I was younger, and he grew up in basically his granny's house, and he only found out in adulthood that the woman he thought was his sister, his oldest sister, was actually his mother.
Oh, right.
And that had a bit of an effect on him.
Yeah, well,
so that's why, right, I make sure to tell you that we knew he was our brother. We were told this from day one, like, he's your brother. But yeah, look, he didn't live with us. So I was raised with my 4 full brothers. So
tell us where you from?
My sister. I'm probably from one of the most infamous places in Ireland. So I am.
In Ireland? That's a big claim, man.
Well, Rathmullen Park, right? What happened in Rathmullen Park?
Fill me in. I'm not up to date with everything that
I'm not going to go into details, but I'm just going to say, if you want to find out what happened in Rathmullen Park, just Google the Gangland feud, the Drogheda feud.
Yeah, so it's a tough area.
So it's a tough old spot, yeah. But look, I wouldn't say it's a tough old spot. It's like anywhere else. It has its problems,
good and bad,
but it has good and bad. I personally have nothing bad to say about Rathmullen. I like Rathmullen.
Well, you turned out an alright person, you know, just about, so they're not all bad, in fairness.
So that's where I have nothing bad to say about the place. But yeah, look, if you want to know what the place is like, has been like, because it's not always like that. You know
but
so
obviously it's like to be a socio-economic affected area.
It's one of the 2 worst socio-economically disadvantaged areas in Drogheda, it and Moneymore. Right, it and Moneymore are the 2 probably worst places in Drogheda. So yeah, with the most, I suppose, as we were growing up and all that, they were the most places with the most poverty in that, and the right, so you know.
But isn't it mad though, like, sorry to step across it, like, do you remember, like, when you were a kid, that it doesn't seem, because I remember living up in Tala, like, you know, that's another one, like, kind of one of them areas, but as a kid you tend to not really, you don't tend not to see much of it there, like, you just kind of go out and...
I know why you're saying you tend not to see it. Well, I have a theory on that, right? So I do. And this I've always taught, which I've discussed this with people before. The reason as a kid we don't see that stuff when we come from them areas is because generally we're not hanging out with the kids from the affluent areas, because they're not going to the same schools as us. Yeah. You with me? And anybody who's got a better life than you, who's not as disadvantaged as you in your school, they're not a whole lot better off. So they're not. It just might be the fact that our 2 parents work. Because in my house, only 1 parent worked.
Yeah, I get you.
You with me? My father was a career soldier, like, yeah.
An army man.
An army man, yeah, an old school army man.
So was he away a lot, like, was he?
Yeah, he was away a lot. He'd stay in the camp a lot. He'd come home on weekends and that. And then there was other times when he'd be home more than that. And then he'd spend a lot of time over in like Kosovo and the Lebanon.
Yeah,
and all
doing
that.
the
So he
peacekeeping and stuff.
doing all that.
So he wasn't around a lot, like, and everyone needs a father in their life, innit?
Yeah, and like that was a big thing as well in school and all that, I suppose, after so long. Because my father, I suppose, there was a lot of domestic violence in the house, so there was. So
that's not easy.
No. So like my father would be strict military man, and he was a bit of an alcoholic, I would say, right? Not a mad alcoholic, but a bit of he liked a few drinks and that, you know, that kind of way, but he wasn't an alcoholic.
Which back in then days, I'm not saying everyone was an alcoholic, but it wasn't kind of looked at the same way as it is now, you know what I mean?
He wasn't like one of those people you see drinking every day.
Yeah.
But what I mean when he's an alcoholic, when he wasn't walking, he liked a few drinks, and then he could be violent, but he could be violent when he was sober as well, right? So he'd hit my mother and stuff, so he'd hit me and the brothers. Now, I don't think he ever hit my sister, which is actually a very good point, right? Because I only learned this when I done addiction studies about how children in a house like the house I grew up in with violence and all that going on, they can have a different outlook, or they can have different experiences in the same environment.
Yeah.
And I think this is what happened here. Because my sister, right, now I love my sister to bits, so I did when everything fell apart in my life.
It's lovely girl, yeah.
She was the only one there for me, right? But I think she obviously had different experiences to us, because she used to go down to Kerry and down to Cavan and that to visit family. She swam with Fungi the dolphin and all that. We never got any of that.
Before he fucked
Yeah, before he fucked off. Yeah. But like, me and the brothers never got any of that, right? But we remember all, say, the bad stuff. She doesn't remember the bad stuff.
And you know what?
No, she doesn't.
Like,
which is mad, because it shows that exact point of how people can, in the same situation, can have different experiences.
100% that, but at the same time, like, you wouldn't wish it on her. At least she had that, you know what I mean? But it kind of it levels up to an understanding. If you understand each other, that it's two different kind of things. But I'd imagine from what you've said, like with your dad being in and everything that went on in the household, like in your early life when that sort of stuff was going on, I can imagine you grew up with a lot of fear in you.
Oh yeah, there's a hell of a lot of fear. Be like that time when you were saying, like, about when you were in that other house and you'd fear the quiet, or you'd fear him, he'd sneaking up the stairs. Well, it was the opposite for us.
Yeah.
We didn't fear, because my dad wouldn't sneak up the stairs.
You just fucking belt.
Oh, you'd hear him coming.
Yeah, like a bull in a China shop.
You would hear him coming. And the quiet was good. Because in my house, the quiet was good. Because the quiet meant nothing was
trouble.
happening. There was no trouble. You weren't going to get hit.
Whereas it's the quiet, I mean, it can be actually quite unsettling.
Yeah. That's a completely different experience.
Yeah,
because that's the different environment.
Yeah, that's your version of danger, whereas mine was kind of a bit more sneaky. But anyways,
yours is more like a thriller movie compared to, I know thriller, everything goes quiet before the start.
Yeah.
That. Whereas my one was more like an action movie sort of thing, like everything going mad and all the noise. Yeah. And before you get hit with a belt or a golf club or something, you know, that kind of way, like different things, like, well, it wouldn't necessarily be a golf club, so it wasn't golf clubs in the house, but you know what I mean, like you get hit with a stick.
And yeah, not just obviously that, but obviously when you have a load of brothers, like you fucking, you know yourself, you kill each other, you know what I mean?
Me and brothers
and are vicious, brothers are vicious.
Me and my brothers have murder each other. Absolutely murder each other. There'll be no pulling punches.
No.
There'll be no pulling punches. And like, I always find it funny now, right, that people think, like, back when I was younger and that, and even now, I'm not a very violent person. I don't really like getting into fights and that, right?
Yeah.
But I grew up fighting. So I grew up around violence. I grew up fighting and all that. So like, I can fight and I can take a punch. You learn all that in that type of situation.
Well, you've no blading choice.
Yeah, so you learn all that. And that's so I don't like doing it because I know what it's like to be on the receiving end. You know, that kind of end. I think that's the thing most people who don't experience domestic violence don't understand.
Yeah, I get you.
So they don't understand that, and they don't understand the damage one person can do. You know, it can upset.
It can upset a whole household.
Yeah, and look. My mother never really, like, my mother was obviously a victim of domestic violence as well, because my father hit her, and, you know, like, we'd hear it, sometimes we'd see it, you know, that kind of way, like, it did happen. But look, my mother wasn't really great either, so she wasn't. When my father, she separated from my father. I think I would have been around 10 or 11, something around that anyway, right? She separated from my father. They're not divorced, but they're legally separated. They're still technically married. Because I think back then it was good in the 90s, the early 90s, mid 90s maybe. It would have been the mid 90s, yeah. So would have been probably still frowned upon then to divorce. So they didn't divorce, they legally separated. I remember because we had to wait to get my dad out of the house. So we had to go to like a family refuge place. Yeah. Which
is hard as well.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Which was up in Rathmines in Dublin.
I know it.
So we were moved up to Rathmines in Dublin. Like that whole time was just very vague. So it was that whole moving back, yeah. So like I don't know how long we were there. I remember it was definitely in Rathmines, so it was.
And can I ask, were you in school at that stage? Or?
Yeah, I was still in school at that stage, so I was, yeah. I was still in primary school at that stage, so
and were you in school in Rathmines, like?
No,
you were still coming back and forth?
No, we had left in school during that process.
Right,
so
I get
we went, you with me? We had left in school during that process because it'd be too much, I think, on everything. And I don't think they obviously wanted my father to know where we were at that stage of whatever was going on. So... yeah, he was then gone, he moved, and so we ended up moving back to the family home. And just my parents owned the home. You know, when my mother owns it now, technically my father still owns half anyway, because my mother never done whatever anyway. Yeah. So we moved back to the home, and then, things like you think, when you're that young and you're naive, very naive, right? So you think, right...
You're very resilient, but to your own detriment sometimes.
Yeah, but what I mean by naive is you think, right, oh, well, he was the abuser. When realistically, my mother was an abuser too.
Someone should have been protecting.
Yeah, she wasn't protecting, so that's just as guilty in my book, right? So it is. So... he was gone, right? So they got the separation. He was gone. He wasn't out up to the house. He would come up for a while afterwards when he got the court order to come and see us whenever. He come up and done that for a while, and he'd take us to cinema once a week for a short amount of time. It wasn't very long, and he stopped coming up. Now, I don't know why he stopped coming up. I don't know whether he just gave up interest or whether my mother was doing some shit. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. So I can't blame him for not coming up. I don't know what the case is. Now, my mother, you'd think, right, he was gone. So that everyone's going to go to normal, whatever normal is. You know what I mean? What's normal?
No such thing as blade normal.
Yeah. So we thought that'd be grand. Things didn't go to a normal, so they didn't. No. My mother then was an alcoholic. So my mother would be out. So she'd go to work. She had to her job then. Like she'd go to work and then she'd go drinking. And she'd rarely be at home, and there'd likely never be food in the presses and that, you know. So, like, my sister would have to go and ask the neighbours for this or that or the other. Me and the older brother.
Dropping in for the old bit of sugar and all that sort of stuff.
Me and the older brother sort of then started running wild, as you do when you're 13, 14, and there's no adults in your life. I
said, we're very green at this. You're talking to the microphone.
I know, but... me and the brother, right, we end up running wild. So we'd be getting arrested by the cops and all this, that, and the other, right? And we'd robbing places, this, that, and the other. Make a few bob, just...
well, like, what else you... like, you know what I mean? What else you gonna do? Sometimes you have to resort to measures to kind of get what you need. And I'm not going down and bleeding, shoplifting or any of that crack. But I remember I used to go to the shop, and as I said, I get 4 things... buy 4 things, not for me, obviously. I got sent to the shop, but I'd take the 5th thing free because, like that, for me, I just wouldn't ask for food. But like, it'd be the same thing if there wasn't enough food there. You get the opportunity, you're gonna do it, aren't you? Like,
yeah. And I remember around this time, actually, give you a funny story for around this time, right? This will give my sister a laugh because she remembers this, right? So we're in Poundland. Remember Poundland?
Oh, Poundland, Jesus Christ! That's as old as like crazy prices. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So we're in Poundland one day, right? I was probably only about 12 or 13, so still very naive, right? So we're in the queue for whatever, and there was condoms.
Jesus.
Where's
this going?
Right, yeah. I run around, like, calling my sister, right? And she looks, right, now my sister was like 16 or 17 or something at this stage, right? Because the 2 of us still kids. It's like, what are these for?
You asked her?
Yeah, right. My sister...
the water balloons.
my sister puts down what she had, right? And she's like, come on, we're going.
Over here.
Yeah, gone.
Jesus Christ.
I embarrassed the life out of her But yeah, that does be funny memories. Like another funny one, I told you this one before, right? This one's very funny. I remember one year, my mother made the Christmas trifling that the day before
I remember you
Christmas.
telling me that one, yeah.
She made trifling that the day before Christmas and, leave it in the fridge overnight. And she put the cream and that on it overnight. And the following day, Christmas Day, we come down. Well, not to say the cream and all that's gone off the trifle.
Off the top of it, like.
Off the top
and
of it.
nothing else left, just the jelly and
Just the jelly and the stuff that's be in it. Like.
I don't like I'd rather just the cream and the flake on top. The rest is
the cream, the flake, the sprinkles.
Yeah, but without the cream, it's not the same. Like it doesn't, because that adds that sweetness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like it was gone. One of my brothers had snuck down in the middle of the night and laid all the cream on top of the trifle.
I'd say he got blatant clattered, did he?
Oh, yeah.
I'd say he got clattered down the place.
There's some of the funny ones. So, like, as much as there was bad, there was funny moments. There was a fair few funny moments.
Well, look, we've a little bit to cover, so I want to push on a small little bit, and I'm going to ask you about, like, what was it like for you in school, obviously, because I remember for me in school, like we'll go into me later, but when you kind of when you're going through stuff at home and you have all this stuff going on and there's poverty and everything else, when you go into school, it's a hard environment to navigate.
Yeah, look, I didn't enjoy school at all. School was rough, so it was. I didn't have a good time with the teachers, I didn't have a good time with the other students. I really only had one person at school I could sort of rely on. That's my best mate, you know who I'm on about.
Yeah.
He was always there for me, And yeah, school wasn't great. I never done homework or anything. Like I'd have every excuse. Something here. Mate, tell you this, right? Oh, I couldn't find my pencil. Oh, my dog ate me.
But did you find it hard? Did you find it hard to learn, or did you? Was that the reason why, or was it just because of everything that was?
I think it was a combination of everything, because I was getting bullied in school as well. Like he's getting bullied, and he'd be called all sorts of names, not smelly, this, that, and the other, like that kind of way. And then I'd never play football, or I'd never fucking really associate with other kids, cause of the way I was treated, and I get fucking attacked and bet up and stuff like. And then, school was hard. And then obviously when we got rid of my father, like that didn't make things any easier, so it didn't, right? Because you have other stuff then after we got rid of my father. You move up through the years and you have different kids in the class you probably never met before, because obviously everyone knew my parents were separated, and you were probably the only parents in the very few parents back then would separate. Very, very few. So I would get stuff said to me like, "Oh, you don't even know who your father is." This, that, and saying that.
Kids can be cruel to their own detriment. But sometimes it's like they don't even know what they don't realise the effect it had, because they don't feel the hurt that you're feeling at the time, so they can't relate to how much that would really hurt you when someone says something to you. And there's a lesson in that, like, that if you see someone in school struggling, or you feel like that they don't have something that you have, like, try to support them around that. Don't use it as ammunition to kind of level them, you know what I mean? Because it can really affect your self-esteem and how you carry yourself in the world going forward, like how you feel about yourself, you know?
And look, right, I'll give you a good laugh. I had a teacher in school, Miss Stevenson, right? Shout out to Miss Stevenson.
Was she good looking?
Principal. No. Right.
I had to ask that question.
But she's the principal of school now, as far as I know, right? Fair play to her, right? But anyway, she didn't like me at school, I didn't like her, right? That's
because you didn't do your fucking homework, you cunt.
Well, yeah, that's probably a big part of it. But anyway, I remember one
She should have been happy, because it's one less thing for her to bleed. And
I remember one day, my nephew, my sister's youngest fella, my sister's kids went to the same schools I went to, right? Because they're right beside my sister's estate. My sister doesn't live in Ramullen, she lives in Trader View. So they're basically, say you've got Ramullen here, you've got the schools I went to here, St John's and Port, and on the other side you've got Trader View and that. So my sister lives there in Trader View. So she had the kids the same school. So anyway, I was talking to my nephew one day, my sister's youngest, and he says to me, "Do you know Miss Stevenson in the school, the principal?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I know her, yeah." And I goes, "She used to be my teacher." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "She asked me today, am I related to you?" And
why, does he look like it?
Well, no, he has blonde hair and all that, so he just looks like his father. But she knows his mother. She knows the family because because it used to be all a small area, you know, that kind of way. So she knows the family, like. And he goes, yeah, and he said she didn't look impressed.
What?
She didn't look impressed.
What's her name?
Miss Stevenson.
Miss Stevenson, you're getting called out now on the podcast, alright?
I know, she's alright. But anyway, the other part...
Leave them kids alone.
The other part of school, right, and they were right about this, I think, right? Teachers used to, you know, your parent-teacher meetings, with my parents and that, my mother would go to teacher meetings and that. The teachers would always say, like, I wouldn't do the work and I wouldn't engage in the class and this, that, and the other. Right, and obviously there's reasons for that,
of course,
you know. But the other thing is they did, I suppose, recognise some things. Like one of my teachers used to say, "Oh, I don't know why he doesn't engage. He brains the bone. He's very smart when he does do stuff." You know, and look, like I left school at 14, right? That's it. No junior cert, no leaving cert or nothing. But when I left school, sort of, I suppose, my education began really. Because within a year of leaving school, I could build a whole computer.
Yeah, because obviously a hobby of yours that you like to do.
I went to a youth centre, and in the youth centre there was computers all around, discs it was called. And great place, you know, and there's computers.
A youth centre, like what are you talking, like a youth reach or something like that? Or?
Well, youth reach was next door.
I was in youth reach.
Yeah, I was in youth reach as well.
Back in the day, you used to get like 50 quid. Before you got like, before you could get your labour, if you were out of school, you'd be getting your 50 or 60 quid it was at the time from youth reach. But I had a bit of crack back in the day, but for me it was more of a bleeding dust than anything else, you know what I mean?
But I done youth reach. I didn't do youth reach for very long because I didn't like youth reach, right? It almost reminded me too much of school. I didn't get on with anybody really, one or two people, that was about it. Look, so I didn't last long in youth reach, and then my mother was like, "Oh, well, you're either going back to school or you're going to like youth reach and that, or you're going to work."
Yeah.
And me being me at the time, because I discovered fucking hash, so it's, you know, smoking drugs at the time.
As we all did.
Yeah, so I was smoking drugs at the time, right? With one of my brothers and a friend, and I'd picked up the habit of actually smoking fags as well, right? At the same time, so. Me thinking being smart, right? Oh, yeah. Because I was still going out on the rob with the boys, right? And me thinking, oh, yeah, I'll be smart. I'll tell her I'll get a job. So I'm not going to go looking for a job, right? This 14-year-old me.
So you were going down a different path at that stage?
Yeah.
Things were starting to change a little bit, that you were kind of trying to take ownership of your life, but doing it in
all the wrong way. Yeah, and all the wrong ways.
And look, I can kind of go with that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I was getting brought home by the cops every other day. Two cops in particular. One called Fergal, two, he's still in Drogheda, a sergeant.
Yup, Fergal.
Always wanted to get me charged with a crime, get me locked up and that, right? Was never really able to get anything to stick other than, you know, the usual child cautions and stuff like that. So it was really nothing really. So yeah, that was all happening. And anyway, fucking mother says, right, so it's with that about getting the job or go back to school and that, and I said the job because I was thinking to myself, I still won't get a job. There's nothing she can do. She's not going to go to school. The following day, right, because she worked in the Boyne Valley Hotel where we go to the gym.
The gym, yeah.
Yeah. So the following day, when she eventually got home, she says to me, "Oh, you start work tomorrow."
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me you actually got a job in there, yeah?
You start
back when it was like a bleeding rave, it was a big rave place, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the nightclub and all that was there, yeah. So she goes, you start work tomorrow.
Everyone popping the bleeding disco biscuits.
Yeah, so she says to me, you start work tomorrow, you know, you're up where I am. So go up anyway, right? There's no real choice, I have to, you know, that kind
I had to do it, yeah.
So it's either that or go back to school, so she get the job. So I went up anyway, and it was great, right? One or two jobs I didn't like. So I was generally working with the handyman around the hotel doing odd jobs. So I'd have other jobs needed to be done. So one day I could be in the kitchen helping the porters wash dishes and stuff.
A bit of everything.
Yeah, the next day I could be out sorting bottles. You with me? Another day I could be moving wardrobes and that around in bedrooms.
Yeah, a mix of everything is good. Did you enjoy it though?
Yeah, I liked it at the time. Because right, my brother and sister were getting whatever they were getting through youth reach and that. So I was getting more money than them when I was younger than them. Because I was working in a hotel. I was working a lot.
Making good
but I wasn't paying any tax or anything because I was a child.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the late 90s, early 2000s.
Well, look, at least you stuck to it and done it. It's good.
Well, I had no real choice.
Yeah.
So I done it, and it's giving me mother money each week.
I never forget my first job either, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a big thing when you get your first.
Do you know what my favourite part of that job was? Well, you know how much land that hotel sits on.
Yeah, it's a big old spot.
Well, one of my jobs was they get deliveries in. No way, some deliveries like meat and stuff will come in the big boxes.
Yeah.
Well, I get all the boxes and I bring them down to, where near the railroad line, the railway track that runs by the back. You see the trains going by. I bring it down near that, so I would, right? And this is what I'll have to do. This is all I have to do for the day. To the fire pit.
What, burn everything?
To the fire pit. I just put the cardboard into it and burn it and stand there and wait till it
So that's like back in the days. Like, do you remember? Like, I don't know about you, our houses up in Rathmullen, but I remember in Tala, like, I'm sure there's loads of people who might watch this. I remember, like, the flames that used to be going in that fire were all different colours. They were green and everything. Because if you were finished with a pair of runners to hold them, they went in the fire. Everything got burnt in the fire.
Back then, that's the truth.
And it used to heat the whole house up, so it was kind of a double bubble.
Do you know what was another two good perks of that job? One was that hotel back then, right, because it was operating as a B&B now, but it was a proper hotel back then, and they had proper big functions and that back then, right? So they had two separate kitchens. They had the kitchen where food was made, right, and you get your dinner up there. So you tell the chef, well, that wasn't the menu, you tell the chef, oh, there was chicken dinner, you get chicken, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, they had a pastry kitchen. And so in the pastry kitchen, I think if I remember correctly, his name was Kevin, right? I could be wrong. But there was a pastry chef, and the pastry chef would make fresh buns there every day. So that was
you had your fresh pick.
So I'd always get a taste of fresh buns every day for free off the pastry chef.
So we're gonna move off that a little bit now.
Right there, one other thing. So there was two other packs on, like, one was the nightclub, right? So I'd have to go in and scrape up chewing gum and stuff off the dance floor and that, right? That was another part of my job, doing that type of work. Right. But with the DJ, because they had a couple of different DJs that come in now, the DJ was in, the DJ be testing the sound and all that, and then I trip over to the DJ, put this song on, and he would, fair play to him.
Having your own little mini disco.
Having sort of like a little mini disco to myself while I'm scraping chewing gum up.
Good man. Well, look, at least you put a good graft in. But as I said, I'm just thinking of time. I want to make sure we get a good rounded view of you.
Yeah.
So, kind of as you got a bit older into your teen years, and because like there's another aspect of it, as we all know, you love Pink and all, but you weren't always you were with. I'll let you tell me. You tell me a bit about kind of navigating them teenage years coming into adulthood.
Yeah, well, look, in the early
because I know you went through a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, in the early teenage years and adulthood and that, you wouldn't catch me in Pink. You wouldn't catch me in any colour, right? So I suppose I suppressed a lot of stuff for years and years, most of my life, as you do, like, because back in the day, I was only having this chat with one of my other best mates the other week. We were outside his house, and we were talking, and he was saying, like, how come we were growing up, you weren't gay? He goes, it's because you would have got killed.
But did you know? Was there a part of you that
knew? I think you always know, but it's a case of, like, you put it down that long, and it's more and more fearful to bring it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, right, so in my early teenage years, early adulthood years, and I've done various different jobs, done force, done a bit of dole for a while, bits and pieces. And I would have been what you would have called a hippie.
Oh, yeah. I remember you saying you wear the big Matrix Reloaded jacket, John Lennon glasses and steel toe boots.
And the boots, remember, and then mohawks and all that.
That's what you're into.
But that's who I was, right? That's technically still who I am. As I said to someone the other day, I said in the other podcast the other week, my music goes from Taylor Swift, man, to Slipknot, you know what I mean, to anything you can think of. I listen to rave, I listen to dance, I listen to pop.
Multi-dimensional.
Yeah, 100%. But back then it was all the heavy metal stuff,
Yeah.
And I looked the part as well.
And did you really like it, or was it a shot, like, was it, do you know what I mean? Was it you suppressing stuff, or you were just genuinely into that at the time?
That's who I was at that time. That was my style at that time.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to get a gauge on the crossover. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was my style at that time, right? Your youth years, your early adult and late teenage years. That was my style.
Yeah.
That's who I was. Like, back then I dyed my hair all sorts of Michael. I showed you pictures.
Yeah.
Mohawks.
I did. I didn't even recognise you.
And then fucking so it was completely different, like, you know, in a picture of me in a big trench coat.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you know.
I can imagine it, because I remember years ago in Temple Bar, it was a big thing that all of the rockers, you'd call them, they used to be in a Temple Bar and they'd be all in that. But I actually, look, I'd be going through me tracksuit, little chumfler, but I actually used to get a buzz out of it. I thought it was very interesting to see so many people congregated, and it was like a little neat, like, do you know what I mean? They were all together.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, it was like they were all in on the one thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a community.
So a sense of belonging, if you know what I mean.
It's a community, you know, that kind of way everyone sort of gets along over the music and, you know, shit that you're into. Like me and a lot of lads are into fucking mixed martial arts, so I ran my own fight club for a time, so I did. Literally ran my own fight club for a time, like, and like we had fair rules and all that, like, so to be every match would be repped and everything. So if you're not allowed to, obviously, it's like the UFC, you're not allowed to start dancing on somebody if he's down on the ground. Be fair, be nice.
Up chin bashing each other in the field on the weekend.
That's a rule. And I'm like, no, we weren't chin bashing. We actually proper fighting. Like,
yeah, well, a chin bash is a chin bash. It's a fucking throwing.
Choking each other out and shit, punching the heads off each other and that. But look, it was all
lovely, and we don't endorse violence on this show.
No, but well, look, that's where I was at that time, and it was for me and my friends. It wasn't.
He's just a very interesting individual.
It wasn't like me going out and saying, I'm going to punch the head of this fella. It was me and my friends, and we'd have arranged all this between us, and at the end of it, we get up and shake hands, win or lose. You know what I mean? You get up and shake hands. That's where I was at. And then I suppose I was falling more and more into addiction. And then, like, I ended up, I suppose, walking. But around that time, I should actually go back to this one. Around that time, when I would have been about 18 or 19, the other two brothers I mentioned earlier, remember? Well, I found out then that around that time that I had two brothers that were given up for adoption.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
So I did. I found out then, like, because my mother got a letter from one of them. So
did she not tell you?
No, none of us knew.
Fuck.
We weren't told. So we weren't told of that. None of our uncles and all that knew, but nobody told us. You with me?
That's a big thing, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we were never told. But then we were told, I suppose, about them. And so the irony of this whole thing about the two brothers, right? I love doing this because people kind of get confused. And I have 7 brothers in total. Right? So I was raised with 5.
You're playing football team.
Oh, sorry, I have I have 7 brothers in total, but I was raised with 4.
Yeah.
Not 5, I was the 5th. I was raised with 4. And so, like, when sometimes I forget how many brothers I have, and people ask me how I'm down, I'm like, I'm down, I'm naming them off and going, oh, Sean, Andrew, no, yeah. And then I go, Wayne. And
I was just going to say that. There's two of them actually have the same name, which is mad. Wayne 1 and Wayne 2.
Yeah, and then people turn around and go, oh, you said Wayne twice. You know, like twice. And I'm like, yeah, that's because there's 2 Waynes. And people
just different.
And people are going, well, you can't have 2 brother Waynes. You can't name 2 children the same thing. So, oh, you can. It's just you can't.
Yeah.
But there's ways.
I'm sorry to say, but mate, it was one of them from the left ball and the other one was from the right.
But do you know, right, what's funny is they were both obviously given up for adoption, as I said. One was adopted on the north side of Dublin, and the other one was adopted from into your neck of the woods.
Where's that now?
So it was Tala.
The best place?
The best. I've been to Tala a ton of times, so I have the best place.
The best people come from the fucking those places.
I give Tala a due. I've never had any issues in Tala. Although I do know a horrible story from Tala with somebody that I knew. He got killed above young fellas up there, yeah. But look, that sort of stuff happens around the place. Won't get into that anyway. But yeah, so then we found out with 2 extra brothers. We met the 4th one, the one from Tala, in Mosney one day. I'll never forget this, funniest stuff ever, right? I would have been with 17 when this happened, right? And I wasn't allowed to drink, so I was young. But so it was not all my brothers and my oldest brother who I told you about, Stephen, the one who passed away. So he came up as well, obviously because he's a brother, and my brother. And I wasn't allowed to drink because I'm underage, right? So anyway, every time someone would go up near the table, my sister or one of my older brothers, my mother or whatnot, I don't want to drink the ad now. So
you drive one of them drinking the leftovers.
Yeah.
But it all adds up.
Yeah, but they were leaving me at the table because I was like 16 or 17. I think I was 17, right? So they leave me they weren't telling me to leave, and go out and play and the stuff. So anyway, one of my other brothers come in who I don't get on with, right? And I never got on with him, and I never will get on with him, right? It's just the way
things are sometimes.
So he annoyed me anyway. This is the first time we met the brother Wayne, right? Well, I went to pick a chair up. Well, I did pick a chair up, sorry, and I went to hop it off the other brother's head. So imagine you're meeting your family for the first time. You bringing out you have to be adopted. You spent your whole life looking for your family and you find them.
And
the first thing you're going to meet, the first thing you're going to see is one of your brothers going to hop a chair in Mosney off your other brother's head.
Jesus Christ!
Can you imagine being in his shoes?
Like, I would have loved to be in now in jails, like, huh?
You know,
bleeding madness.
Yeah, that's the sort of chaos that went on as we were kids and stuff. But yeah, so we're in full contact with the two of them now, and yeah, look. So I got into then, I suppose, as I grew up, then I ended up doing odd jobs, and I ended up working in the bar then eventually. Right,
that's right down in Blade, and what's called
what's called the Central. It's not there anymore. Yeah. It's gone now. It's apartments now, right? The little bar is there, but that's somebody else owns that. But I ended up working there for a long ass time, and I ended up living with one of my brothers from Dublin. Right. So I did. He moved down to Drogheda for a time. I started seeing this girl, and it was a very stable relationship. So it was, we ended up together for 5 years.
Serious enough,
yeah, it's a very serious relationship. Like, because we ended up when I moved out, when the contract on the building, the house was up with my brother.
Yeah,
me and her got an apartment together. So we did.
Playing happy families.
Yeah, playing happy families and all that. And yeah, look, I think.
And I'm gonna cut in there. I'd say you're a hard man to live with. I'm just putting it out there. I'd say she whipped you, but if you were with her for that long, she must have whipped you into shape in some way, shape or form.
Oh yeah, well I suppose, right, it's like any relationship, there's give and take, isn't there?
Absolutely.
There's give and take. So obviously, yeah, she changed some things with me to suit her, let's say, and we were living together and all that. Because before we were living together, as I said, I was living with my brother. So she come over and she stay over 2 or 3 nights a week in the gaff with me and my brother. You know,
so practically fucking living with you.
Yeah, pretty much. So before we moved in together, she already pretty much knew what it was like to live with me, because she'd be sharing the same bathroom, sharing the same fucking bed and all that, same bedroom and that. She even had some clothes there when she was there, that kind of way. So she knew. But look, I suppose she got to a point where I probably should have thought about settling down and starting a family and all that. But I didn't, because my addiction was getting worse and worse and worse.
I mean, let's talk about your addiction. For you, it was weed, wasn't it?
Weed,
that was,
yeah.
People make it out like weed is it's nothing, it's this and that, but it can actually be quite destructive, depending.
Yes, and anyone that says weed is not addictive obviously doesn't know anything about the research that has been done on weed. Go read the research, because weed is highly addictive. So
and it took you to a very dark place, didn't it?
It took me to a very, very dark place. See, my addiction then left me to fuck that whole relationship and all that up. So it did. People say you have regrets in life, and that's my biggest regret, is fucking that relationship up.
There's always one that gets away. Do you know what I mean?
But
unfortunately, that's life. Like, yeah, if that didn't happen, you probably wouldn't have learned from it. You know what I mean?
Well, I didn't really learn from that relationship, right? I learned stuff.
You didn't learn fuck all.
No, I learned lessons in a way that it's still how I look at things when it comes to, say, maybe form relationships. Like, I haven't been in another relationship since that one.
Fuck, that's a long time.
So that's over 10 years.
And are you happy to being like just? Yeah, you're not actively searching for that.
No, I'm not searching for a relationship, right? Because I realise that, right, a relationship is a lot of work. It is, especially when you get to the point where I did with her. And you'd obviously know better than I would, because you're married. You were together now, 17 years?
17
years. Over 3 times longer than I was together.
17 years and 30,000 hairs that have disappeared.
But, yeah, look, I did learn lessons from that relationship, but I didn't learn any lessons around my addiction at the time. Right? So I learned lessons about myself and about what I want in terms of a relationship. Because even today, I still reflect on the stuff that went on there, the stuff that I done. Like now, in this case, when it came to the breakup and all that, all the badness was on me. None of it was on her. None of it was her fault. It was all my fault.
And you were taking responsibility for
that. Yeah, I didn't at the time.
Yeah, I understand.
I didn't at the time, but on reflection,
hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, on reflection, it was all my fault. I fucked up that whole thing, so I did. For me and for her. But
you probably weren't taught at home how to, to see what a healthy relationship was. Do you know, or witnessing people being selfish. Yeah. And without you knowing it, that can kind of rub off where you're not kind of, you're not taking on board someone else's needs.
Yeah, but look, right, while that is very, very true, I wouldn't use that as a cop-out card as in, oh, this is why I done it. I done it because I let my addiction. I decided my addiction was, at that time I decided my addiction was more important than her. Than any relationship. That's why I done it, like. So it was nothing to do with the way I seen relationships, from growing up and that. Obviously that did play parts in it, but it wasn't the cause. Yeah. The cause was my addiction. So it was, so after she left me, and then I had to move back home to my parents, my mother's house, and then I kind of fell in doing some stuff I shouldn't have been doing because I had no job. I wasn't really getting fuck all. So yeah, look, I started
probably getting caught at a bad time.
Yeah, it's probably one of the lowest points in my life. That's at that time. And yeah, I got caught with I ended up minding drugs. So I did for...
Yeah, it's a risky business.
Yeah, look, the other thing about it is I had another friend who was telling me, my friend, I had another friend as well, and he was telling my friend who because my friend who was a drug dealer at that time as well. He was telling my friend, look, get him to stop minding drugs, will you? He's gonna get caught. He's gonna get into. Yeah, and he's not the type of person to be doing.
Exactly, especially where your head was at the time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much of this that doesn't really come into it.
Yeah.
It's the decisions that you make when you're at a low point, and you nearly paid for that.
Yeah. Look, so I done it. I was minding up to class A.
My fucking eye is twitching like fuck, like here. It's like, sorry for interrupting you, just in case people are looking. It's like, I feel like me, squinting off like that. But anyways, go on.
Yeah, but look, I ended up mining drugs, and a large quantity of drugs. I wasn't mining a fucking bit of this, I ended up sort of drug dealer, I suppose. Yeah, it's the way the guards would look at me. It's what I got done for in the end, anyway. Fucking because I was delivering drugs and all this type of shit, that kind of breaking it up and all that, and collecting money and stuff.
And you'd never think that about, like, if you didn't know you know what I mean? I would have never thought.
It's just funny, right? It's just funny when I look back at it, because my mother's neighbours had no idea I was dealing drugs, right? Even the cops at the time, the only reason I got caught, it's suspected, is because somebody ratted it out. Because it said on the yoke you were acting on intelligence. You with me? So, I dressed like a bum during that time. I really didn't give a fuck. But I walked out, because look, cops at the time would look for image.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you a good laugh, right? I had a bar of weed one day and I was delivering it out to somebody, and I rolled it into this long. Do you ever see the packaging of weed comes in? A kilo of weed comes in.
Yeah.
Right. So at the end of it, I had an empty packet of that. So when I weighed out per bar, right, of weed, it's 124 grams. So it is, right? Or thereabouts, I forget exactly, but 124
straight off the top of the head there.
Yeah, and I haven't done anything in years. I don't.
Are you doing your man bleeding? What's his name? Bleeding Breaking Bad there? Nobody knows.
But so weighed it out, right? 124 grams, yeah. 128 grams, sorry, it is 128 grams, so it's 128 grams. So I weighed it out, poured it into the empty bag I had from a key, rolled it up, and so it was lengthways like that, and I put it up my sleeve, because at the time I had a smock, like a British Army smock, and with the Velcro, like the watch here, that was the bottom of the sleeve, so you could pull it around and close it tight, so it'd stay up my sleeve, it wouldn't drop out.
Fucking bang with that.
Right? He said, oh yeah, come here, I was clever enough, right?
Come here, you do,
So I'll give you a good example of how at the time the guards would look at image, right? And image is very important, right? So I'm walking up the road with this bar of weed up my sleeve, and I'm going to meet somebody, right, in the next state across from Ramullen, over in Finians, and DS is driving by, drug squad, right? And they're driving really slow, soft, and they're kind of looking at me, but they're not really gawking me out of it. As they're going by, they kind of look, you know, that kind of way. But then there's these two young lads up ahead and they're Nike and they're North Face and all that. Guess who the cops
stereotype.
Yeah, the cops pulled them too. I kept walking, so I did. And they probably only had, if anything, probably only had a 50 bag.
So is the pink another part of the disguise now, is it?
But yeah, look,
is that part of the disguise now? Are you still up to no good?
yeah, I'm kingpin drawn on it.
I'm only fucking buzzing.
But yeah, look, I done that for a while, good while, and I ended up in the end getting caught. So I did.
That's what happens.
Right, yeah, I got caught. Look, they raided the house. When they got the stuff that they got in the house, they obviously move you from room to room because they can't have you in the room. They're searching. But I'll give you a good laugh, right? One cop thought he hit the jackpot when he went into one of the bedrooms up in the house. So a fucking pile of pellet guns all sitting up in the corner.
Yeah, because you were mad into that bleeding airsoft, weren't you?
My brother's mad into the airsoft. Now, at the time, I didn't have any pellet guns because I sold them all. But my brothers did. And they had them all. The first guy into the room, you could hear him. He's like, yeah, look. Someone like I walked into the room and they're like, oh, that toys.
Yeah, knew straight away.
They knew straight away, you cop straight away, yeah. No one, because who's going to have that amount of assault rifles and sniper rifles and that handguns and that sitting in a corner in the house?
You fucking wouldn't know any.
In this country, nobody. Come on, realistically.
Maybe more so America.
Yeah, in America.
I'm just saying, nothing would surprise me anymore.
But here in Ireland, nobody's going to have AKs, M4s, fucking big sniper rifles and all that sitting in the corner. You with me? It's unrealistic, really. So that's why the other cop obviously copped on straight and no. So yeah, no, he realised they're toys. They're not actual guns, like.
So can I ask you kind of what happened then? What happened as a result of it, and where are you at now with all of that? Because I only know you the last 2 years, and I'm finding out things about you now that I didn't know. Now, I obviously knew that, you know, you'd made decisions in the past, and I strongly believe that them decisions that you made, they weren't made by like a version of you that I see now. It was an affected version that made stupid decisions. And you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
100%.
But you're through all that now, you know, to a degree.
Yeah, and look, fucking got caught. Ended up in court, right? I ended up with section 15A. For anyone who doesn't know, there's 3 drugs charges you can get. So in this country, so there's 3 different charges you can get. There's, I think they call it a section 3. I could be wrong, I'd have to check that up. But I think it's a section 3. And a section 3 is if you get caught with a joint, or if you get caught with a 50 bag of weed, you know, or maybe a little wonder bag of coke, you get caught with them personal use. That's what you've done under, is that one, right? So that's the lowest drug charge you can get. Then after that comes a section 15. And for anyone who doesn't know, a section 15 is what your dealer would get. If you were selling drugs, let's say you were selling coke, let's say, and you were not even, if you were selling coke, because you're not going to have this much coke in your house, right, when I get to it, but you'd be selling out your bags of coke, so that's normally what a dealer would get, because a dealer probably only has 3,000 or 4,000 pounds worth of drugs at any given time, you know, that kind of way. And then a section 15A is for people like me who had a large amount of drugs over the value of 13 grand. Now, I'm not going to say the value of the drugs I had, but
doesn't really matter.
But needless to say,
we're not sitting here glorifying drug dealing.
Needless to say, it was too much.
Yeah,
you with me? So Maria, lovely woman Maria, tried to get me into the drugs court, but the drugs court said no because they don't deal with anything over 10 grand, or they didn't at that time anyway, and I don't think they still do. So lo and behold, I got a section 15A, which means I got sent forward to the bigger court. I forget how the courts work, and it's in circuit court. Isn't it district CCJ. And then circuit? No, district and circuit.
I'm not really up all that stuff.
Right, yeah, I forget. Well, anyway, I got sent forward for trial, so I needed a barrister on that. So I did, right, for because I could have ended up having a jury trial, right? That's what it was. So I pleaded guilty. So there's no jury required. So if you plead guilty,
It's just a sentencing.
you get so much time cut off a sentence. If you plead guilty, you get so much time cut off because you're not wasting the court's time. This time.
Well, I mean, it's hard. How can you plead not guilty when you get caught?
Yeah, but like when they caught all them drugs, you see, when they got all them drugs in the house and they had them, say, sitting on the sofa when they brought us into the living room and they had them. Well, because my family, and it's in my family home, I straight away said, look, they belong to me.
So that, so no one else is getting in.
They're mine. They're mine. That was grand. So they arrested me, and they didn't put me in handcuffs, right? To which I was surprised, and I actually only found out recently enough. You remember, were you there and we done that thing with the barrister and the red door?
Yeah.
Know your rights. I didn't realise that the cops are not allowed to actually put you in handcuffs. I was surprised because remember she said it that you're only allowed to put you in handcuffs if you present a danger to you, them, or the general public.
Yeah.
Other than that, they have to justify why they put you in handcuffs. So they do. So they're not illegally allowed to unless you're a danger, to yourself or the public or them. So I always thought they didn't put me in handcuffs because I didn't resist arrest and I wasn't abusive or nothing. And that's obviously why they didn't, because I didn't resist arrest and I wasn't abusive or nothing. I just went, took it on the chin. Went to court, pleaded guilty. I didn't plead guilty there for a second. I pleaded guilty. Look, I suppose I was at a point in my life where most of my family wasn't talking to me. I ended up homeless. I was actually still homeless to this day. But look, it's neither here nor there.
It's no fault your own.
Yeah, look, it's life. So anyway, I ended up homeless and I went to the Red Door. Great service, as I said.
Absolutely.
I engaged with the Red Door. I joined their day program, and because I had said to myself, look, I need to change. And I spent time trying to get off drugs, trying to get off weed and that. And look, that wasn't working. But eventually I did. I did get off weed and that. And the judge seen that and so the judge seen the work I was doing, and the Red Door give letters to people who are going to court and that if you're engaging with them to tell the
like a character reference to show that you're showing up and doing the work.
Not a character reference, but the letters range from, they might say like, oh yeah, this person attends drop-in. If you only go up and have a cup of tea.
Yeah, but you're not actually doing any major work on yourself.
But that's why the letter might say something like, yeah, this person attends drop-in.
Yeah.
Or then you get other letters, like the ones say I got, I don't know what was on them, but I imagine they'd be like, yeah, he attends drop-in, he's on the day program, so he's studying this, he's doing this. So they say like he took up beekeeping, he does beekeeping here.
Yeah, I forgot you used to do that. You brought me up before and I got stunk the fuck, thought it was great, and then like a little bitch I was.
Yeah, so it tells everything you do, with service and that, and how the work you're putting in to try and change yourself.
And you have done a lot of work.
Yeah, but look, the day I was in court, I only found out the night before, the day I was up for sentence, right? I only found out the night before because I'd lost the house I was living in at the time, so I was back in the homeless services, right? So I only found out the night before. My solicitor rang me and said to me, you're court in the morning, you're up for sentence tomorrow. Now that fucking made me heart sink, that's a scary experience, right?
It gets real very quickly.
Yeah, and look, I went to the following day, so I texted P.O. the following morning, say to P.O., look, I can't get in this morning. I said, I'm up in court for sentence today for me stuff. And he's right, yeah, who you going with? I said, look, nobody won't go with me today, so I go by myself. And he goes, look, I'd rather you if you didn't go by yourself. He goes, well, I send one of the staff from the Red Door down to you. And I text him back and I said, yeah, ask him to ask Ola Keegan, which come down, because I like Ola, I get on with Ola. And he goes, yeah, I'll ask. So anyway, a little while later, I was arriving at the court, and I got a message off Ola, say, yeah, where are you? Are you at the court? I'm on my way over. I'll be with you in 5 minutes or so. So Ola come over, and then I had a junior barrister, a senior barrister, and a solicitor. And so they moved, because COVID and stuff was on, they were moving the courts around. Like, I was sent forward to Dundalk, but some days the Dundalk court would be in Drogheda, and Drogheda court would be up in Dundalk. It's confusing, very confusing. But anyway, This day was in Drogheda, which was grand, right? So Ola came down, the junior barrister on my team came out, she talked to me for a minute, and she thought for a minute that Ola was probably my sister or something, right? And I was introduced her to Ola, said who Ola was, and that, and then she says, right, come on inside, and we're inside. Ola, me two barristers, the junior and senior, and my sister come over and they're talking to me, and I couldn't understand half of what they were saying. So they were telling Ola, and Ola was telling me what they were saying, right? You know, kind of translating. Then they asked Ola, and they asked Ola, and fair play to what they said to Ola. Look, if we can get you up on the stand to give him a character reference, will you do it? And fair play to Ola, because she doesn't have to. It's not our job. It's not what she's there for. Because the Red Door don't do this. That's not what the service does. But fair play to Ola. You know, I always have mad respect for her for this. She got up on the stand and she gave me a character reference when she didn't have to. You know, that kind of a shout out to Ola. Love you. Right? You know? But, yeah, and look.
So where would you say... What would you say was kind of the defining moment for you that you really, really started to, like, because we all have this point where something happens and we look deep inside ourselves and we realise I can't live like this anymore. And that sets you onto a journey then of doing things the right, because everything you've spoke about in regards to, you know, how things went, and then what I think is a very small part of you was getting into trouble. And I want people to know that, because people tend to listen to these things and they can be judgmental and all, but they don't know you. And I see the good that you do and the good that you try to put out there.
Yeah, I think, look, in the middle of that getting caught, getting sentenced, because that was a long process. That took like 3 years. So between getting caught, I got caught in November 2019 with the drugs in my house, right? Then I didn't get a sentence till around, I think it was the end of 2022, the start of 2023. I didn't get a sentence till around then. So it was a long process in getting caught and getting convicted, right? So obviously
you had a lot of self-reflection, kind of.
Yeah, I had a lot of time to walk with myself, and then a lot of time, and I think in the middle of that, and in the middle of COVID, I had a serious mental health breakdown. So I was in a bad place at the time. Like, none of my family aside my sister were talking to me, and like I
just everything on top of each other,
and the court and all that stuff. But at the time, like, I had long hair down to about here. I had really long hair, like, yeah, look, I miss that hair. I kind of had a Britney Spears moment, because I locked myself in the house for...
Britney, bitch!
Yeah, I locked myself in the house for a long enough time that nobody could get through to me, not even the Red Door. I turned the phone off and everything. So
you completely isolated yourself?
100% isolated, and I wasn't getting out of bed. My sister said to me, what was it? When eventually she did get through to me, and I opened the fucking door, because I was doing nothing but come down and wrapping the blanket and that. I'd shaved my head by this point. I had no hair on that at this point, and but I had a big thick beard and stuff. My sister says to me, "You look like Bobby Sands. You know, your mum with the blanket and that wrapped around you when you come down." It's just a dark place, and look, I think.
Oh yeah, there was no dirty protest going on.
No.
Sorry, I'm only taking the piss.
Yeah, no, you're all right. And I think, look, I was in a very, very dark place. I had dark thoughts on my mind, very dark thoughts on my mind, and if I had stayed the way I was, for much longer, I don't think I'd be around today.
Because you did, we talked about this, and you did get to a stage where you were suicidal and you knew you needed to change something.
Yeah, look, I got to a point with all that stuff where I realised I probably should just come out. Like, for a while I thought it was fucking...
When you say come out, what do you mean?
Like, come out, just to sort of accept myself for myself. Like, for a while I thought it was gay, for a while I thought it was trans, for a while I thought it was, a few different things. But I'm not. I realised what was going on with the confliction, because it's like I didn't understand this stuff till I started going to doing groups and doing the walk on myself to realise who I am or what I am.
You didn't have the time though, really, when you think about it as a kid growing up. And there's so much going on. You haven't got time to feel safe and actually figure out who you are as a person. It's kind of just like you're trying to survive. And obviously after you got to a certain stage maybe where you broke away from that and you're like, you had all this freedom and you're like, now it's kind of, who am I? What identity am I going to create for myself?
It's not, no. See, people say, what identity am I going to create for myself, right? That's not what you're doing. That's not what it is. Right. In my experience, that's not what it is. It's not what identity am I going to, because you don't create an identity for yourself. You don't.
It's just who you are. It's finding who you are, basically.
Yeah. It's about self-exploration, as they say, and figuring out who you are. Because I thought I was gay, I thought I was trans, I thought a load of different fucking bullshit about myself, so I did. And I realised then, after talking about all this stuff for so long and doing different sort of groups and stuff, I've done that some LGBT groups and stuff for a while, and I realised that, no, I'm just fucking bisexual, right?
Yeah. So you had an answer nearly.
But I had an answer nearly, but then it's like I like to wear fucking sometimes I like to wear, I suppose, when some people say, women's clothes.
Right.
Pink pants, fucking big 40 coats.
No, that's not a blade. No, I wouldn't say that's women's.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Well, you seen some of the coats I do have, like, you know what I mean? What people would consider to be traditionally women's clothes.
Yeah.
With me, like most fellas would consider that in the women's section.
Let's be honest about it, right? When you see, let's say, if you're seeing a man, he's wearing pink trousers, the typical man would kind of look and wonder what's the story there.
Yeah.
Whether they're being cunts about it or not. And I remember, I know you first kind of met you, I never really asked. But I kind of remember just kind of looking, I wonder what the story is. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I was more interested in that way.
Because you seeing, right, I know what sort of thought when you seeing someone, right, long hair, say pink outfit, big 40 coat or something. You were expecting as soon as I open my mouth, right, I know exactly what you were expecting. You were expecting me to hear, how are you?
How are you, love?
That's what you were expecting. But when I open my mouth and I sounded like the way I do sound, and I talk the way I talk, you're kind of like, right, what the fuck is going on here?
I find that being comfortable with who you are, not having to put on this. Like, I'm not saying everybody's over the top, but I do believe some of them, they put it on so much, it's kind of nearly dramatic. But when I just see someone being themselves and you can feel that that's just who they are. But coming to accept that is a huge point, and I love that about you. I don't care what anyone fucking says. I love to see someone able to be true to themselves and not give an absolute fuck what anyone thinks, because it's a good marker for anybody watching to kind of go, you are who you are, and there's nothing you can do to change that. You can try to pretend, or you can try to be fake or be something that you're not. But at the end of the day, you're always going to know inside who you are. So live your life in that skin.
Yeah, it's about self-acceptance. It's not discovering. It's not making an identity for yourself, because that's not what you're doing. You're not making an identity for yourself. Because that's making something up that's not really real.
So what would you like peeling back the layers, kind of, and finding what's really going on?
It's kind of like, right, growing up, as I said, like when I was me and my mate, and we're on about, like, he's like, you weren't gay in the 90s, and he says, it's because you get slapped around back then.
But you used the word combats and all going to thing, and then what they're probably like, now it's all full coat and now knickers, like. You know what I mean?
So as someone one of the girls said to me, because she knew me years as well, Rihanna, you know Rihanna?
No, I don't think I met.
But Rihanna said to me one day when
I know Rihanna, but it's a different Rihanna.
When I was saying telling her and all that, she says, that's mad. She goes, because I remember you in the trench coat and the combats and being like a real man's man, that kind of way. And look, I suppose a lot of that stuff, that was who I was then, but I think a lot of the stuff you do, like, as I would say, is not peeling back the layers or that. It's kind of letting your guard down, letting the walls down.
I think
and when you let the walls down, it's like you can see yourself in the mirror. You can see your true self in the mirror.
I think we're constantly peeling back layers to ourselves to a degree. We have to adjust in life and realise what's working for you, what's not working for you. I think that's a constant journey that we're on. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, man, look, you said to me earlier on that you didn't think you had a really interesting thing. Now, we found it very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people out there would have found it interesting. And the whole reason being, as you do, we said we give people a little insight into who we are as people, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But the main thing is what you're doing now. Your past is just that. It's your past. It doesn't define you. It's what you choose to do today, and what foot you decide to put forward today. And as a friend, one of the best things coming out of that all was becoming friends with you, because I do admire your honesty, and I do admire the way you just live your life the way you want to live it. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. Do you know what I mean? For anybody. Because there's too many cardboard cutouts out there now, and they're all trying to just look the same as each other. Whereas when I was a kid, everybody had a bit of individuality, and that seems to be going away in some ways. The way the young fellas dress and all nowadays, it's people are finding it harder just to be themselves. So I do admire that about you, that you just be yourself and you're genuine.
Look, the other part about, I suppose, about that now is, like, I wouldn't have been comfortable, I suppose, the way I am now. I wouldn't have been comfortable, let's say, going back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it is. Right?
Talk into the mic, you bollocks. People won't be able to hear you.
I wouldn't have been comfortable the way I am now 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the way I am now.
Don't be flicking your Goldilocks all over the place. Like, people want to hear what you're saying.
Speaking of me Goldilocks, do you know Susie? The lady from the hostel that man.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she only said to me, about me pink hair. But she'd like to see me dye the hair pink again, right? But she said...
Well, do you think there's a chance that'll ever happen?
I don't think so.
No, well, you've always had that bit, kind of...
Yeah, well, as long as you know me, I've had that, yeah.
Yeah.
But what was it she was telling Ava, the artist lady, who was telling you about? She was telling Ava, shout out to Ava, because I know you're going to watch this. She was telling Ava, right, about me having the pink hair. And it was last week, I think it was, right? And no one can
Which, sorry, if you don't mind, Ava, is that the artist?
Yeah. And,
Ava, we have a job for you.
And what was it? So she comes out and she goes, "Oh, you, pink hair." I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "I want to see you with pink hair." And I'm like, "Oh no, I don't think I'm going to dye it again." But you know, I said earlier on, because Susie only said it to me earlier on. Remember, you was doing the busking, and I went down to near and I was talking to Susie and Artie and that, and Susie had said it to me then, and I said, "Oh no, I don't think I'm going to, I think I'm a bit old for that." And she said, "Oh, look at me, I'm 50, and she puts the blue in her hair." You know, I don't think she is 50, she's 49 or 48. But anyway, she'll probably kill me for saying that. But anyway,
you're dead.
But anyway, look, I said no, and I told Ava no as well. But look, I wouldn't rule it out fully. You know what I mean? I might dye my hair again at some stage. And look, if I dye it pink, I dye it pink. If I dye it blue, I dye it fucking blue.
You do. You do what you want.
Yeah, 100%. That's look, come here, you know me. That's the motto I live by. Do what makes you happy, as long as you're not hurting anybody else.
Right. So, Mr. 100% mindset. I want to just thank you for being so open and honest, because I know it's not easy. But I think it's important just to give the viewers an insight into you as a person, and hopefully they'll find something that they can relate to. And I think you've done a good job, bud, so fair play to you, but I'm fucking starving. I have to get something to eat, so we're going to have to wrap this up, folks, and we appreciate you watching, and we hope that you subscribe and
enjoy the show.
Follow the bleeding journey. But well done, Amber. I appreciate you, bud.
Look, we can't really interview anybody unless we have an interview ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm in the hot seat next time, which I'm
don't worry, I get you all the juicy details.
Here we go. Yeah, so that's it. That's a fucking wrap, and I'm going to get fed, so have a good day, everybody.
Now get up,
get out,
and get after it.
Get after it, 100%.
You talking, I didn't make it on my own.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe, like and share, and as always, get up, get out and get after it. 100%.